Hi, my name is Amanda and I'll be running this series of video tutorials for crochet for iVillage's Community Craft Corner. I wanted to introduce crochet to you in this video and then we'll look at some of the basic stitches in the next video. They'll both be loaded together so that you can get started. But first I thought it was easier to put all the basics you need to know down here and then another video with the stitches in so that it's easier to look for what you're wanting at any one time. I want to start by introducing you to the sorts of things that you can do with crochet. I want to show you some of the things that I've done and that friends have done. This is a blanket that I created during my pregnancy. It's not very large, it was just a trial piece. I was using a new pattern, which was the Granny Mandala, and using up a yarn that I've never used before, but it comes in very handy for throwing down on the floor if I just need somewhere to lay the baby for a little while. I also want to show you the blanket that my friend sent. She's my crochet guru, someone who I turn to every time I've got a question, and she created this beautiful blanket for the baby when he was born. I hope you can see the tree detail here, and there's flowers further down, and she assures me that it's not that difficult, and having looked at the pattern I would say that it's probably not that difficult, but you need to know what you're looking at. And as a self-taught crocheter myself, I know that it can be a real minefield trying to learn how crochet works, how the patterns work. You look at this piece of paper and there's all these terms on it that you don't understand. So I'm hoping to give you the basic knowledge that you can then go ahead and start creating finished products right from the start. So even though you're practicing your skills, you're still coming out with something that you can use and enjoy. And eventually we will get to shaping and things like this. These are hearts that I asked some friends to crochet ready for our wedding. We decorated the hall with lots of items that we'd made and other people had made, and they're not that difficult either, so we will look at things like that as we go through, just to give you an incentive. And if you think that the first video is a bit plain and boring, you're just making up squares, well, we will get to turning them into a pretty cushion cover or bag at some point. We just need to work on the basic stitches right now. The next thing I need to look at is how the series will work. We are going to have a community craft blog up, and through the month I will be looking at inspiration, other crafters, but once a month I will be posting these videos so that you can learn a new skill, have a look at a new pattern, have a go. And iVillage have set up the option for you to use the Crafts and Hobbies message board here. There will be a link at the bottom of this blog, so that you can then join in, you can talk to people who are having a go, you can post up videos and pictures of you having a go. We want it to be really interactive, something that you can join in with, and you're not just watching a video and that's it. You can have a go, you can share it with people, you can ask questions, and it's more of a community feature really. Let's look at the basics now then as to what you need to know before you start crocheting. The first thing first, you're going to need a crochet hook. Let me get one of the big ones to show you first of all. This is your crochet hook. It's smaller than a knitting needle if you've knitted before, and you only use one rather than two. I'll show you how you can hold the hook in the next video, but I wanted to just give you an idea of the different hooks that are available so that when you go and get one to give crocheting a go yourself, you'll know what to look for. Most craft shops will sell plastic or aluminium hooks. Not many of them have these colourful ones. I got these off the internet. They're really easy to get hold of. I prefer aluminium to plastic. I find that it slips through the yarn much easier, but you may find that you prefer plastic. And you can also get bamboo and bone ones, but they will be more expensive. You get a wide range of sizes. This is 9mm, this is 8mm. You go through to 4mm, which is a typical size for using with double knitting yarn, which is one of the most common yarns used, right through down to these tiny little ones, these 2mm ones, and they'll be used for fine crochet with cotton yarn like this one. This is a nice thin cotton yarn. It's almost the size of embroidery thread, to be honest. And crocheting wire. I will show you later on in the series how to crochet wire so that you can make your own necklaces and bracelets, which is something that I have been keen to learn. You will find that you need a range of sizes, but it's very rare for you to need one of the big ones. And unless you're going to do one of the small projects, it's very rare you need one of these. The ones you need to look for are probably between 4mm and 6mm, depending on your gauge, and we'll talk about tension and gauge a little bit further down. And they're the most common ones you will find in your local craft shop as well. I want to look at the yarns as well. There is a vast array of yarns. You've got these tiny thin ones, like I say. You've got a lot of them that are a little bit bigger. You've got Aran weight, you've got DK, you've got sports weight, baby weight. They all come in different names, and I will leave a reference table at the bottom of the blog so that you can always have a look. A pattern will always tell you which weight of yarn you need. Generally it's best to try and stick to that weight unless you know your gauge really well and can adapt it, because that is what's going to happen. If you find that you're crocheting things up bigger, you just need to use a different sized hook. It's easier to change the hook than it is to change the yarn. This is a lovely baby merino. This is merino wool, microfiber and cashmere mix, so they're not all just plain wool. You've got these lovely mixes. I don't personally like just wool. I find it irritates my skin when I'm doing it. I tend to go for the acrylic, the cotton, the bamboo yarns, but this one's not too bad because it's got that mix. This is a cotton one, and then you've got this beautiful baby bamboo, which is so soft, so beautiful to crochet with, but you will find that the higher quality yarns will be more expensive. I would say go into your local craft shop, have a look. If you need help, if you don't know where you're starting from, go and ask the shop assistant for a double knitting yarn, and then when you know what options they've got, have a feel of them, see which ones you can imagine running through your fingers. Like I say, wool really irritates my eczema, which is why I started using bamboo and cotton. But if you like wool, that's something that you can look into because it does have a lovely drape. I want to give a little bit of information on tension right now. When you work something, when you have a pattern, you will be given a gauge. You will be told that you should have, let's say, 4 or 5 stitches to an inch. And that is where a tension square comes in handy. You need to have a go and crochet up a little tension square, and I will show you this in the next video. But basically you just make a piece about 10 centimetres by 10 centimetres, have a go, and then you pin it up, you measure it, and you count how many stitches you have. And if the gauge says 4 to 5 stitches in an inch and you've got 3 to 4, you are making your stitches too big and you need to go down a hook size. Use a smaller hook and then you should be able to get smaller stitches and the right gauge. I know that I crochet quite tightly, so I sometimes use one hook, one size higher or larger than the one in the pattern, because I do find that my tension is quite tight and I end up with 6 or 7 stitches in an inch rather than the 4 or 5. And it's something that you learn as you practice, which is why in the next video we're going to talk about making some tension squares so that you can practice your new skills. We'll work on a couple of the basic stitches, and don't worry, you will be able to use the tension squares as a project later on. So you're not just doing it for no reason, you will be able to use them. I think that's everything that I need to tell you in this introduction. So thank you for watching. I hope it helped. If you have any questions, please do ask either in the comments box or on the Craft and Hobbies message board, and I will see you soon. Thank you.